Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a stack of archaeological reports from Gordion.
So really fascinating translations of ancient Assyrian records, too.
Exactly, and several modern historical analyses. Our mission today is to look past the ultimate cautionary tale of greed and uncover the real historical human being at the center of it, King Midas.
Yeah, I mean, you likely know him as the foolish king with the golden touch. But the actual man was a highly sophisticated, powerful ruler. His complex life was essentially flattened into a single sensational metaphor by history.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the sources show the real Midas was far from a fairy tale.
He was a very real 8th century BCE king of Phrygia, which is located in modern-day Turkey. When you read through the ancient Assyrian records, he appears as Mita.
Mita.
Right, Mita. And he wasn't just some local monarch. He was a major diplomatic player who interacted directly with the mighty Assyrian Empire.
I was struck by his impact on the Greek world, too. The historical analyses point out he was the very first non-Greek king to dedicate a royal throne to the oracle at Delphi. Why was that such a bold move?
What's fascinating here is the sheer diplomatic weight of that gesture. Delphi was the cultural epicenter of the Greek world. For a foreign king to present an offering of such exceptional craftsmanship and frankly undeniable wealth.
It left a massive impression.
Oh, absolutely. When a ruler drops incredibly beautiful, ornate gifts at your most sacred site, it's easy to see how a legendary association with endless gold begins to take root in the cultural imagination.
Looking at the archaeological reports from the Phrygian capital of Gordion, that wealth wasn't just a myth. Excavators uncovered a massive burial site known as the Midas Mound. Utilizing dendrochronology, which is just tree ring dating, archaeologists pinned the tomb's timber to exactly 740 BCE.
That level of precision gives us a fantastic window into Phrygian society at its absolute height.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Despite the name, the overwhelming consensus in these reports is that the tomb doesn't actually belong to Midas. So, who is really buried in there?
The remains actually belong to his predecessor and father, Gordius. Midas himself commissioned the tomb. And when archaeologists finally opened it up, the true wealth inside wasn't piles of cursed gold.
Right, no gold at all, actually.
Exactly. They found incredibly sophisticated bronze vessels, intricate textiles, and beautifully carved wooden furniture. It paints a picture of a civilization that valued high art and complex craftsmanship over simply hoarding precious metals.
So what does this all mean for the end of his reign? Because the historical sources don't give him the clean mythological ending where he just washes a curse away.
No, they don't. The reality was deeply tragic. Around 696 BCE, his kingdom was completely devastated by nomadic Sumerian invaders. Ancient accounts claim that as Phrygia fell, Midas committed suicide by drinking bull's blood.
Such a brutal, abrupt end for a prominent historical figure. In the famous myth, he washes away his golden curse in the river Pactolus. But reading the historical analyses, the Greeks didn't just pull that river out of thin air to finish the story.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that mythological detail is heavily grounded in ancient economics. The river Pactolus, located in neighboring Lydia, was a massive natural source of electrum.
Basically a naturally occurring gold and silver mix.
Right, which they used to mint some of the world's very first coins. The Greeks essentially used the Midas myth as an origin story to explain why that specific river was so uniquely rich in currency-grade metal.
I want you, listening right now, to consider how easily a complex human life, one filled with high-stakes diplomacy and appreciation for fine art and ultimate tragedy, can be reduced by history into a flattened soundbite about greed.
It really forces us to examine what else history has oversimplified. There is one final image from the ancient text that stands in stark contrast to the golden myth. Ancient writers mention the Garden of Midas in his ancestral homeland of Macedonia.
And this garden wasn't famous for precious metals. It was famous for impossibly fragrant 60-petal roses. The real King Midas cultivated living, fragile beauty, something that stubbornly blooms, fades, and refuses to be turned into static metal.
This raises an important question for you to ponder. If the historical Midas valued the temporary living beauty of a rose above all else, what does it say about our modern culture that we treat the Midas touch as the ultimate complement for ruthless financial perfection?
Definitely something to chew on the next time you hear that phrase. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.